Articulation, very important for singing. So now we've gone through the whole system of how you interpret sound, from your hearing to your breathing and your vocal cord vibration. So now, how do you now communicate and shape this sound into words? That's articulation. Putting melody to words and making sure that the words communicate to the hearer. So if you are not communicating in such a way that people can hear what you're saying in the context of the language, because articulation has to be in the context of a particular language that you're singing the song. Various language, cultures, and communication systems have their articulation guidelines. So we're using that for, like I said earlier, North American English, which is more open compared to the British system for articulation. So the way it works is the consonants are a bit silent. We don't let the consonants interrupt the flow of the vowel sounds, and then the vowels are open, free, with free flow of air. So since the oral cavity is very key to how you pronounce words, because you use your oral cavity, basically your mouth, your tongue, your teeth, your lips. Those are like your articulators, your primary articulators for singing. Since they are important, then how do you shape them? Because they have to be at a certain shape and opening for the clarity of your speech to be excellent. So that's where we'll start from. We'll start from phonating. Phonating is basically vocal sound production. So when you are producing vocal sound, how do you shape your oral cavity? I always say you open for vowel sound, you keep it as open as possible, and then it can come down, up, down for consonants. That's the flow. So for your vowel sounds, you use a shape like you have a tiny sized ball in your mouth. That's how it works for vowel sounds. So you want to keep ah, 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 and then your tongue has to stay at the bed position of your lower teeth. Ah, ah, ah. Let's do it together. 1, 2, 3, go. Ah, ah, ah. Good. And another part of the shape for your oral cavity is your jaw. Ah, ah, yeah, yeah, yeah. You can use yeah, 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 yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Ah, ah, eh.
Ah, ah, eh.
Ah, ah, eh. Like you're sliding down. Let's go.
Ah, ah, eh.
Ah, ah, eh.
Ah, ah, eh.
Good. So, another very important exercise that helps your phonation, I call it straw phonation. So, the way it works is you glide sounds into a straw. It also helps to suit the voice, apart from, okay, giving you a proper approach for phonation or a proper placement in terms of your pharyngeal space and then your mouth, your oral cavity. It has a way of suiting your vocal cord vibration. That's why I mentioned it when we were talking about semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. So one of the ways you can use the straw phonation. So as you're blowing it out, air is also going back in, causing your vocal cord to vibrate with less pressure in a very relaxed way. So you can either blow it without the water or you can use, but I prefer you use the water for the bubbles. You can do it as a siren kind of flow. Or you can do stuff like melody. So you just feel relaxed when you're doing it. It takes all the contraction in your muscles. It sort of makes the muscles around your throat and your glottis to your mouth. It makes those muscles loosen so that if there's tightening around there, it sort of aids relaxation and flexibility. So you won't feel the normal strain you feel when you're ascending up in pitch, when you're using the straw phonation. So you practice that mostly when maybe you're trying to recover, or probably you're just trying to get your vocal tract warmed up for speech. People that do a lot of public speaking and singing a lot, you use that just in between your sessions, just to give yourself that relaxation that is needed. So that's a very important part of phonation and articulation. And then the other part is okay, I mentioned the apple bite. Let's touch some exercises on the apple bite, apart from the oral shape and the cavity placement I spoke about, which is for vowel sounds. Ah, 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 I, yeah. I, yeah. Then we do reverse order. Yeah. Yeah. So instead of I, E, O, you don't start closing your mouth for the letters that feel less open compared to letter A. You don't do stuff like I, E, O. That's why some people sing and then their articulation is choppy. It's open, close, open is not stable, is not consistent in terms of the clarity of their vowel articulation. So if you want to make your vowel articulation clear and stable, this helps. For example, if I'm saying I worship you, I don't say I worship you. That's closed articulation of the I worship you. You see, I'm bringing out instead of ooh. I worship you. I worship you. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. You see the openness in the vowel sounds. For the consonants, you can close it up a bit. For the P, the B's, the Z, the S's, and the T's, those are the consonants. There's constriction of airflow. So you take note of this as you articulate. Don't let the consonants interrupt the vowel sounds. So another exercise that I give to be able to make sure your placement for pronouncing English sounds are proper for singing is nose pinch. So the way it works is when you pinch your nose and then you sing a run of words or a sequence of words. When you pinch your nose and the sound becomes nasal or blocked, then you know you're not open as you ought to be. Your oral cavity and your jaw, and then the place for phonating your sound. It's not as open as it ought to be. So, for example, if I'm doing something like you are the pillar that holds my life. You see, that's very blocked and nasal. So, what you want to do is when your nose is pinched, you want the sound to be as open as it can be. You are the pillar. But if you notice, for the consonant sounds and the M's and the N, you experience some blockage. That's understandable because of the technology of those words. You are the pillar that holds my life. You were the pillar that holds my life. So you see, the openness is still there. You were the pillar that holds, without the nose pinch. Let me pinch my nose. You are the pillar that holds my life. Master Jesus, you are the pillar that holds my life. You say it stays the same, even with the pinching of the nose. You don't want it to become blocked. So let's try that out with you. Let's use all other God. They are the works of men. You are the living God. So you pinch your nose and you sing all other gods. Let's just start with that one. All other gods.
All other gods, they are the works of men. You are the only God. There is none like you.
Better. So these are key elements of articulation and phonation. So we'll go to vowel placements. So we are adding a bit of melody to it. I'll do it alone. Then we'll go to E. So the closure in your mouth should not be so much like it now goes to you see, it's choppy and flat. When you say then we'll do R to A now. I'll do it alone. We end with R. A. Breathe in. I'll do this part. So I'm rotating between A and O. Then we'll go to U. Not U. So you see how I'm transiting from A to A to E to to U. So for U, words like I will worship you. So you see how the is shaped. So that's how you substitute, you use them, make sure that shape remains the same for all your vowel placements. So let's go to an important part of articulation, which is tongue twisters. So it's just like you're training your speech to be able to articulate consonant sounds within short space of time. Plenty sequence of words that has lots of consonants. We've done the vowel workout, so let's do words that have more of consonants in them. So this one is a lot of people know this. She sells seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells. So you make sure the S is not so plosive. The T, P, P is not so explosive on projection. She sells, she. See, I'm almost whispering the she, not she. You see? She sells seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the seashore. So you want to do it in such a way that your flow is not interrupted. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picks a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picks a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Peppers. You see how I'm also making sure the R has a roll to it. Peter Piper. I didn't say Peter. That will be more of the British approach to it. But in Northern American flow, the T's are mostly silent. Peter Piper picks a peck of pickled peppers. And then there's tongue twisters using worship, popular glossary of terms for worship leading. Like, my hiding place, my safe refuge, my treasure, Lord, you are. My hiding place, my safe refuge, my treasure, Lord, you are. My hiding place, my safe refuge, my treasure, Lord, you are. So you're doing these words in quick successions. My hiding place, my safe refuge, my treasure, Lord, you are. Let's do it together.
My hiding place, my safe refuge, my treasure, Lord, you are.
Sustain the last word. I'll do it now. My hiding place, my safe refuge, my treasure, Lord, you are. And then another sequence of twisters I came up with is beautiful, merciful, wonderful, powerful. Beautiful, merciful, wonderful, powerful, beautiful. So you need to understand something about articulation. There's what we call place of articulation. That's what part of your articulators are touching each other. So you need to know for every word you're pronouncing, where is my tongue? Is my tongue at my hard palate, or is my tongue at my lower teeth? How is my lips being shaped, or from is my tongue in between my teeth? For words like treasure or thank you. So you see that interdental placement. Thank you, thank you, thank you for standing by me, standing for me. Ooh, thank you, thank you. So it's almost like a TH. Thank you. So you take note of that. Know where a particular articulator is placed. That's called placement of articulation. So using this placement of articulation, and then you're using words in quick succession. That way you're training yourself. When you're not eventually singing them in songs, or you're writing a song, you want to understand how to properly arrange your pronunciation. That way, it sort of stays with you, it sticks. And I have this one I teach a lot. Mighty deliverer, everlasting Father, glorious Savior, soon coming King. Mighty deliverer, everlasting Father, glorious Savior, soon coming King. Mighty deliverer, everlasting Father, glorious Savior, soon coming King. Mighty deliverer, everlasting Father, glorious Savior, soon coming King. Mighty deliverer. So you see the consonants are a bit silent. And you say, mighty deliverer. You see the difference? That sounds funny. Mighty instead of mighty. Mighty. But there are times people or choirs use that emphasis on T's. That's for special effects. Let's not rule that out. It happens from time to time where the consonants are emphasized for sake of special effects or creative enunciations. But generally, the rule is the consonants are more silent and then the vowels are much more audible. Mighty deliverer, everlasting Father, glorious Savior, soon coming King. Mighty deliverer, everlasting Father, glorious Savior, soon coming King. So another important part of enunciation for worship leading, for singing, is diphthongs. Diphthongs now are two vowels in a particular word. So one part of the vowel glides into the next one. So one is a bit more closed than the other one most of the time. So we call it gliding vowels, two vowels in a word. So for example, you're using songs like joy, joyful, 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 joy, joyful. So there's a way diphthongs work. You have to make them as open, and then the gliding has to be clear. Joyful. Some people will now bring what I call delayed phrasing into joy, joyful. So you see people singing diphthongs in creative ways like glorious God, beautiful King, excellent God, I bow before your throne. Glorious God. So you see glorious. Or you're using words like I honor you. I honor you. And then words like rejoice or God. God, God. That's the gliding vowel factor for diphthongs. You are my God. You are my God. So that's how diphthongs are enunciated. You either apply them as delayed phrasing where the glide is delayed, or the glide is just fixed and it goes straight from one part of the vowel, like joy, joy, joy. And you want to make sure your diphthongs are open as possible. You want to make sure they are as open as possible. Be glorified. So that's a very important application of delayed phrasing. We are focusing on the aspect of delayed phrasing and delayed variation of your vowel sounds or your vowel consonant mixtures. Be glorified. You can use that for creative articulation. Be glorified. Be glorified. You see the gliding. Be glorified and be glorified. So these are exercises that you can try from time to time. You practice them going from one sequence to another. The repetitive approach has a way of, okay, it sticks. And then when it's time to apply them to songs, okay, you know this particular word, this is the placement of my tongue, my teeth, my lips. Basically, the articulators are your tongue. The primary articulators are your tongue, your teeth, your lips. Tongue, your teeth, your lips. And then your jaw is more of a secondary articulator, because the jaw has to be wide and has to be placed certain ways for your vowel enunciations to come out. The Son of God is glorified. 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 So, very important. Let's touch the final tongue twister I have in my list so that we know we've touched more and we touched as much exercises as we can touch regarding tongue twisters. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Supercalifragilistic. Let's keep it there. Supercalifragilistic. 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 Fragilistic, supercalifragilistic, supercalifragilistic. After me. Supercalifragilistic.
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 Good. She sells seashells by the seashore.
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 Good. So, these exercises are like a compilation of what you can work on from time to time to just improve your articulation. Because, like I said earlier, the 4 major biomechanisms every singer should know is, first of all, your power source, the sound source, your system for resonation, which we've spoken briefly about, and then your system for articulation, so that then you have a well-rounded understanding of how you sing. We've touched about the science of how you produce sound. Where does it come from? The air pressure, the up, down, and down, up flow of the air pressure, and then your posture. Very important. And then positioning of your oral cavity, the shape. All these factors, they interplay to give you a well-rounded approach to singing, so that you don't just start singing without a proper understanding of the elements and the guiding blocks. So as you keep practicing this, you will notice great improvements. I can guarantee you that. So, because these are fundamentals that every singer should know. Since we're dealing on introduction to voice training for singers and vocal empowerment for singers. So you keep practicing with all of what I've said, from the biomechanisms, the sound source, the power source, the breathing exercises, the support exercises, and then the articulation, as well as your ear training. You will notice you get a better understanding as you go, as you progress, your understanding of what it takes to be a vocal athlete, a vocal artist, well-rounded and well-balanced.